Broadcasting live from the Joy 106.3 FM studios, it's the Hail Wildcats Gridiron Show with the Gridiron Gang. Fellas, let's flip the switch and do this. Very pleasant good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Hail Wildcats Gridiron Show, Bethune-Cookman versus Jackson State week. I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Ralph Smith, and the professor, Mr. Larry Wesley. And as always, fans, we thank you for tuning in. Please share with your family, friends, and all Wildcat fans alike the Hail Wildcats Gridiron Show. Ralph, how is it going, my brother?
All right, so I'm all fired up to go to Jackson, and hopefully we will be victorious. I just hope all the Wildcat fans follow us over to Jackson, Mississippi, and let's get this victory.
Ralph, we're going to talk about that trip to Jackson here shortly, and it was destined for you to go to Jackson. We'll get to that. We'll get to that during our recap. Professor, how's it going, sir?
Not bad, Daryl. Not bad at all. Looking forward to the preseason being over. And
yes, sir, definitely.
In the teeth of our conference play, and really thrilled the fact that they moved the W.C. Gordon Classic, which is Jackson State's home game that we're playing in, to an evening kickoff as opposed to an afternoon start. So I think that would be a great environment as climate-wise, as well as the crowd that they expect to have there, and look forward to the Wildcats playing an exciting brand of football.
Definitely looking forward to our Wildcats playing an exciting brand of football and finally get back into, as you say, we get into league play. It's that time. It's that time. I know in years past we've always waited and couldn't wait for league play. There was always a lot said that, we're going to be like very vanilla until that time. So it's been a little different this year. I mean, yes, we've had our sprinkle of vanilla, but there's been a little more than vanilla. How about that?
Yeah, a little bit more. Again, we're still in an advantage position of not having a lot of footage out of us yet. So we'll see more and more of the onion being peeled back this weekend with respect to our offensive strategies that we're going to employ and defensive strategies. So I'm really looking forward to that. And the word around the conference is that everybody really wants to see Bethune-Cookman and know to gauge what type of ball club we're going to be. And I think we'll kind of give an account of that on Saturday night.
We'll definitely give an account of that on Saturday night. 6 p.m. kickoff in Veterans Memorial Stadium there in Jackson, Mississippi. Still time for you to go watch our Wildcats kick off our SWAC season as we know it. That'll take us straight into our SWAC week recap. And first off, of course, as we said earlier, our Wildcats go down to Miami Gardens and take on the Miami Hurricanes this last Thursday night. Final score of that game, 48-7. We will come back a little later and cover that. Moving right along, on last Saturday, Florida Memorial goes to Grambling. Coach Rome and those guys go into Grambling. Final score of that game, 58-22. No surprise there. Next up, Miles College at Arkansas Pine Bluff. I know we all thought that, hey, could this be the upset? Could this be the upset? Unfortunately, it was not for Miles. Arkansas Pine Bluff wins that game 21-20.
Miles about to take down 2 FBS opponents.
Right,
from a Division II position. Right. They don't miss that extra point. We got a tie ball game going in overtime.
Definitely so. Next up, we had West Florida goes to FAMU. Final score of that game, 31-10.
I was somewhat surprised at that outcome. I know that West Florida has a very explosive offense, but I kind of thought that Florida A&M, with their size, would be a lot more explosive than what they demonstrated.
Ball game, I think tied at halftime. It was like 3-3 or something like that.
Yeah, it was
at the half,
and that's what really surprised me, though.
Yeah, well, I was interested in seeing the outcome of it. Apparently, Florida made some adjustments at halftime and came out the second half.
Yeah,
putting the foot on the gas.
Right, definitely so. Then we have Prairie View, who is playing. Went into. They went to SMU. SMU pulls that thing out 69-0, as we knew they would.
These money games, boy, they're painful to watch. They're also painful to look at the score.
Right.
It's. I don't know. I
unless you're friends with the opposite coach.
Yeah. I understand why we play money games. I kind of wish that we could play teams of our size first and then play a money game. I don't know. I don't see that.
I totally agree with you. So you're saying like Savannah State should be the kickoff. Yeah, someone similar to that.
Yeah, someone similar.
Yeah.
But these schools we're playing, they have conference games.
Yeah.
They've got to get their
I understand.
conference out of the way early before getting in the middle of conference play.
Definitely. Then we have Texas Southern goes into Rice. We're playing Texas Southern for homecoming. Final score of that game: Rice 59, Texas Southern 7.
Short drive right across the street.
Yeah, right across the street. And
so it's a backyard brawl in the same city, and the outcome would be what you expected, a domination.
Yeah. In all actuality, he better have won that game. Coach Mike Bloomgren, he and I were at Florida State together, and he left Florida State and went to was offensive coordinator for Stanford for many years, but he needs some wins.
Yeah, but even though the score was a bad outcome from Texas Southern, but they only had to go across the street, so they was able to keep all their money.
That was my point precisely.
Yeah.
If you're going to play a game like that, you get
go across the street.
Right.
No travel involved.
Yeah, exactly.
And you pick up a check on top of that. That's not a bad deal.
Then you have Alabama A&M goes to Southern. Southern finally gets their first win of the season, 20-10 over Alabama A&M.
Tough game to watch. Really was like watching paint dry. It was an evenly played game, but something, as we were saying, Alabama A&M is still trying to find the keys to the offense.
Right.
And Southern finally got off the snide as well. So the home team victorious, 10-point separation. But you figure Bama A&M, with the offensive mind of Cornell Maynard, that they would be able to generate a lot more offense than they're showing so far.
Yeah, definitely. So you see the gentleman who transferred in there from Jackson State, Quincy Casey, goes for 228 yards passing in that contest and still come up with the, on the losing side of that contest. It's strange. Next up, Mississippi Valley plays at Delta State. Delta State wins that contest 35-7. No surprises there.
Delta State, a Division II football team, but a very, very respected Division II.
Didn't they beat Alabama State last year? Delta State? They beat somebody this way.
But every year they knock off, every 1 or 2 years they knock off a bigger ball club from one of the conferences, one of our, one of the, either the SIC or out of the SWAC.
Right. McNeese State plays Alcorn State. Alcorn wins that contest 17-3.
Total domination.
Yeah.
Total domination.
Those guys are kind of licking their wounds after that Florida game. Yeah. McNeese State was. Next up and last, Jackson State at Texas State. Final score of that game, Texas State 77, Jackson State 34.
Now that game was close at half. that score, I think they just wore them down.
Gotcha.
That game was relatively close at half. I think it was 28-20, something like that.
Gotcha. There it is, guys. That's our SWAC week recap. There is a question that we have over on our chat board. Are we wearing white this weekend? To my knowledge, there's two uniform combinations as of right now, and our road uniform is gold this year. And there's a different combinations. Like we came out in gold with maroon pants on Thursday night. So I'm sure there'll be gold jerseys and maybe black or maroon pants. So we'll see that. Moving on to our Pro First Sports Management SWAC week schedule and rankings. We have Arkansas Pine Bluff and Alabama A&M. Right now, that game is being played in Huntsville, Alabama. Larry, do you have an update on the score?
3 minutes to go in the first quarter. Alabama A&M has come back to take the lead 10-7 over Pine Bluff.
Okay. Gotcha. Mississippi Valley is at North Carolina Central, 3 p.m. kickoff. That game is being played in Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. I guess Circle City Classic.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. Yeah,
Circle City Classic. Copy that.
That one could get ugly pretty quickly.
Real quick.
It can.
Yeah.
Texas Southern at Grambling. That ought to be a great contest. That's a 3 p.m. kickoff there in Grambling, Louisiana.
A lot of eyes looking to see if Andrew Body is going to play.
He's going to play, right?
Right. But, we'll have to wait and see. He's not played since the first game of the year when they lost to Prairie View.
Definitely.
So we'll see what goes down there.
Then you have Alabama State versus FAMU. 6 p.m. kickoff there in Bragg Stadium. Bragg made the news big time today as the Florida High School State Championship games, as all of them will be played in Bragg Stadium this year. They just unveiled their Jumbotron and some other improvements. I know, Larry, you and I had talked about that earlier, about that happening. So it was finally announced by Florida High School Sports Association that those games will be played there instead of in two places.
Of course.
Yeah.
They've been lobbying for that. And I'm certain I'll hear more about that this Sunday. I'll tell you what's going on later on in the show. A big program in Gainesville this Sunday night regarding Florida High School.
Gotcha. Prairie View goes into Alcorn, 7 p.m. kickoff there in Spinks Kasem Stadium there in Lorman, Mississippi. 7 p.m. kickoff. And then our Wildcats go to Jackson State Veterans Memorial Stadium, prime time, 7 p.m. kickoff Eastern, 6 Central Standard Time. Yeah. And we'll definitely cover that here shortly. As far as the power rankings, some interesting power rankings by the computer. Starting to act right. So coming in at 19 is FAMU. They were previously 33. Coming in at 38 is Jackson State. They were previously 32. And don't look now, but coming in at 67 are the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats, who were previously 83.
Quantum leap.
Yes, sir. Alcorn State comes in at number 70. They were previously 85. Texas Southern comes in at 73. They were previously 73. Southern comes in at 79. They were previously 91. Alabama State comes in at 83. They were previously 79. Alabama A&M comes in at 86, previously 61. Grambling State comes in 92. They were previously 109. Arkansas Pine Bluff, 95, previously 120. Prairie View A&M comes in at 100, previously 102. And Mississippi Valley State rounds us out at 126. They were previously in that same spot. As far as our SWAC rankings here in the East, FAMU comes in at the number 1 spot. They're 1-0 in conference, 2-1 overall. Alabama State comes in at number 2. They're 0-0 in the conference, 1-1 overall. Jackson State comes in at 0-1. They're 2-2 overall. Bethune-Cookman 0-0 in conference as we begin conference play this week. Overall, we are 1-2 on the season. Alabama A&M comes in at 0-1. Overall, they're 1-2. Mississippi Valley rounds out the East bracket at 0-0. Conference 0-2 overall. In the West, Prairie View comes in at 1-0. They're 1-2 overall. Southern 1-0. They are 1-2 overall also. Arkansas Pine Bluff comes in 0-0. They're 1-2 overall. Alcorn, no wins, no losses in conference play, 1-2 overall. And Grambling State comes in at 0-0. They're 1-2 overall. And rounding it out, Texas Southern 0-1 in conference, 0-3 overall. There you have it. That covers the SWAC for this week. So, guys, there are 1,000,001 things going on. 100 years of football. Larry, you got any heyday pointers for us? I know there was an article that came out a little earlier before we came on the air.
Yeah, there's a great article featuring the second game of the 73 season 50 years ago. Bethune-Cookman against Marsh Brown. We mentioned a little bit about it last week, but in the record books, they've had that score wrong for a long time, and finally Ryan and I were talking this week, and they finally got it right. The football game ended up 26-0 with Bethune-Cookman winning that game in dominating fashion, and there's a great little article on the BCU Athletic front page, football, talking about the football game. One thing that's interesting about that 50-year-ago season, the game started later in the year than they start now because college didn't start until September 5th, Labor Day weekend. So we were actually in the second week of the season when we took on Marsh Brown in Atlanta. And interesting part of the game, Daryl, to mention about the statement I made earlier about being at a program on Sunday night. Wayne Allen was the star running back in that football game. To lead us to victory. He and Willie Collins, sounds familiar, Nick Collins' father, played a prominent hand in that victory, and then the defense totally dominated Marsh Brown. But this Sunday night, this is a special tribute for the fact that for a number of years during segregation, the two athletic conferences, black and white, were segregated by race. The black conference was called the FIAA, the Florida Interscholastic Athletic Association, and the white conference, the Florida High School Athletic Association. Well, they merged in 1968. And there's been a very, very long struggle to get these records to be the African American history records of football in the state to be included in the FHSSA. So this year's class, 13 individuals going into the Hall of Fame of the Florida High School Athletic Association, dominated practically all of them, either graduates of Florida A&M Bethune-Cookman University. And so Larry Little will be going in, Wayne Allen will be going in from Bethune-Cookman, Marcia Pender, outstanding basketball legendary coach from Fort Lauderdale-Dillard. Some outstanding people, Bob Hayes for Florida A&M, the world's fastest human. Freddie Dowles, the legendary basketball coach at Gibbs, who won the first state championship for black schools playing against white schools. Earl Kitchens, whose father coached at Matthew Gilbert and won the first state championship ever to be played, black or white, in Florida. So it's going to be a fun time to go over and sit there and watch these people get their flowers, while many of them are still alive from that standpoint. So looking forward to that. And I'm so happy for Wayne Allen because he's meant a whole lot to the Wildcat program over the years, and just seeing him get his just due. And he had a very prominent role, played a very prominent role in that 73 football season. He and Randy Sweetback Walker, what a backfield that we had, along with Don Person, the fullback, and quite naturally Willie Collins at quarterback. So we'll be talking about some of those down the road events as we talk about memory lane as we move through the season.
Definitely so. big things happening over on campus. I know on this past Wednesday night while we were on the air, big event happening down at in Miami. Fundraiser of sorts for Bethune-Cookman Athletics, helping with the athletic facilities that we are erecting. Raised over $120,000 doing that. I know one of our name sponsors, Alpha One Staffing and Search Firm, Ms. Harris over there, amongst a lot of other people donating into that, and it was a great event.
It's a great event.
Great event.
It was truly a great event, and when good things start happening around the college, it's a snowball effect.
It definitely is.
We're playing football right now. We've got a lot of improvements on campus. I think we got a pretty doggone good football team. I know we're going to
look at the power rankings.
I know.
That says a lot.
That tells you a lot. Somebody's watching.
Yeah.
So these are good times. And Ralph, the president who was in charge when you and I were at Bethune-Cookman, Dr. Richard Moore, used to always have a saying: "Strike while the iron is hot."
That is it.
And that's what's happening at Bethune-Cookman right now.
And there's a lot of things that have already happened, positive things that have happened, and even more that's in the works. There's a familiar face who Wildcat fans will see pretty often. Yeah, a lot more of, and probably hear from a lot more.
And we'll hear from them definitely.
Yeah, you're gonna see him though. you definitely go. Okay. Yeah, you definitely gonna see him. So, definitely great things happening there, and then something huge. I know we were standing out. Was that Tuesday night? Last Tuesday night.
Yes.
Over on Jesse Street.
Jesse.
Good old Jesse Street. We're over there, and just miraculous things have happened over there, and the practice field.
Daryl,
practice field, guys.
I met you and Ralph over there last week. We saw the field. We saw the turf on the side.
Yeah, over on the side.
Okay, we talked about that. We had no idea what the timeline would be.
But we knew it was soon because we
knew it was very soon.
Those two workers were out there getting after, and they were tedious about it.
You guys called me. I think it was on Tuesday.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I went up to the campus, and I drove through there. Each day since then, I have been by there 2 different times. I got out of my car yesterday, and I said a prayer because I thought about what if Bunky Matthews, Jack McLaren, Richard Vernon Moore, some of the people who have carried this college athletically for years, what would they say to see this? And it looks surreal. It really looks so surreal. It's beautiful. It looks surreal, and I can't wait for our kids to get out there on it. The lights, the LED lights. It is a prime time effect. It really is.
It definitely is going.
Beautiful facility, and I think it's going to get better.
Oh yeah,
no doubt.
But I don't want people to think that we still need some support.
I mean,
especially
that's phase one.
Yeah,
phase one still isn't even completed yet.
This is the first phase of this. This is just the beginning.
Yeah. And I think we did a wonderful job on that field. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. Now I did read some comments that people want to know about the in the middle of the field. They hadn't really finished it.
No. Even when we were out there, I mean, you could tell it was.
Yeah, and people who haven't been to the field is commenting about it, but they haven't finished it yet. So
right.
You just got to wait till they finish it.
When I went by it again today, they were teetering, tidying up.
Yeah.
They're not finished.
And that's to be expected because you're putting a decal down on this particular matted field.
Right.
So it's got a cue.
And
and they're touching it up.
We won't right now, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, we're the instant gratification generation. You know that.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
But if you see it, particularly if you see it in person,
Oh yeah,
it's moving. It's something.
Yeah, because the picture don't really give you.
It really doesn't give you the true feeling.
Man, I tell you what, if they, they could really raise some money if they put a donation box right there on Jesse Street.
Well, like we noted last week, that's quite a bit of traffic coming down Jesse
with different color tags on it and everything. Yeah.
The people on Jesse Street, there's not many, but they're probably saying, "What's going on over here? We haven't seen this much traffic in 100 years."
Yeah,
but it's worthy of that because it is something special and something to be proud of if you're a Wildcat, to see it come to fruition.
Definitely so. There's more to be done. The work is not finished yet. Once that field is done, we still have
more work to do.
So,
but we'll get there.
Yeah, definitely get there. So that will take us right into our BCU versus University of Miami game recap and our position grades. Guys, travel down to Miami Gardens, 7:30 kickoff on last Thursday to face the number 22 Miami Hurricanes. Nice weather. Glad finally be in Miami without, the sun beating you down and sitting you there.
Right, yeah. Absolutely.
We had some troopers who traveled with us, man. I mean, it started raining, and those ladies sat right down there in it and
never moved.
Yeah, never moved. So
traditional South Florida shower.
South Florida shower. You heard plenty of people, not to prolong it, but why would you build a stadium with a hole in the middle of it? So
South Florida.
Yeah. Still, that's natural grass.
Of course it is.
Yeah, so you still got to water that. It's not a tray that takes it outside and brings it back in. So like the other stadiums we know.
It's a prominent stadium that the NFL likes to bring the Super Bowl to a lot.
Right. Definitely. Tyler Van Dyke, 10-play drive. He pretty much took everything under his wings on that opening drive to march it down against our Wildcats. Oh, sorry. You also, Theron, you stuck it out down there with the ladies. So
tell him we'll get to him later.
Yeah. Sorry about that, big guy. Tyler Van Dyke drives the ball down the field. Borgalis knocks it in. Then they come back down. We go out, come back down. They go up 14-0 on a 93-yard drive. We go back out on offense, and our starting QB gets knocked out of the contest. 3 plays in, and I know we've been inundated with questions on how our quarterbacks are. Any of you guys want to expound on a short update that we know about?
We'll let you do that.
Perfect choice, Ralph. Perfect choice, Ralph.
We have 8 quarterbacks. So I'll start out with that. We have 8 quarterbacks, 6 scholarship quarterbacks, and 2 guys who are really good, walk-ons. We will not see Luke this weekend. We'll not see Luke Sprague this weekend, which, he's progressing. His injury's progressing. We hope to have him back here within a few weeks.
Well, we get an off week next week.
We get an off week. That's a big.
That's a great time to have an off week. Sure. If your quarterback, one of your starting quarterbacks, is injured, and so then we have one road game before we come home for home.
Right before we come home for home.
So that's a perfect setup.
We have, and then our next guy, Tyleek. Tyleek is probable for Saturday's contest. Yeah. Non-throwing shoulder. It is Luke's throwing shoulder. that he's going through the therapy and everything to get that back right. But we're going to be okay. We'll be okay. I know Coach Garbino plays to each one of his guys' strengths and make sure they're ready. We saw a multitude of things in practice to let us know that we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. And if we can do what we need to do, not getting ahead in our show, but if we can do what we need to do and play our game, we're going to be just all right. And we're going to be just fine and then make it to, the off week. So.
Well, Daryl, the key is from the onset of fall practice. And since this team has actually been together since Summer B.
Right, right.
The quarterbacks have gotten reps. So it's not like, we're rolling some people out here that have no idea of what we're doing or now they might not have had live bullets, but they've all had reps. And I tell you, this coaching staff spends an awful lot of time in skull practice and teaching. Not just on the field, but in the classroom.
Oh, yeah. So, definitely.
So you can feel pretty good that we got a deep room, and the people who will be playing, they'll be prepared to go out there. Mm-hmm. They'll go out there knowing, that they're prepared for the game and that the coach is going to call to their strengths.
Right, definitely. Is there anything you saw or you guys saw in that contest against Miami that highlights?
The one thing that I wasn't that I was disappointed in is our tackling. I thought we was terrible at tackling, and we made it easy for Miami to score on us.
And it wasn't that Miami's play calling was, they went very vanilla. I know we had talked about, even before we left, what was it 42-6?
Well, that's what we said.
40,
it was a 42-point spread is what we were saying.
Exactly.
We were right there
on
it. They were spot on, And I think, again, the tackling could have been a lot surer in that regard. But you also, Miami is going to always out-athlete any FCS team that's going to play.
This is a better Miami team than it's been in a while.
Oh, yeah. This is the Miami team that's trying to get back to the OU.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's the kind of talent that they had. What I was very pleasantly pleased by was the fact that we moved the football better on Miami than we did.
Yes, we did.
We ran the football well, when we were able to run it.
See, that's what I was telling Darold yesterday. I said the offensive line is starting to gel. They're not there yet, but each game they play, they get just a little bit better. And we got, like you said, these kids just came together Summer B, so...
And the offensive,
they've come a long ways.
The offensive line, Daryl, you played the game at a high level in college as well. It's like a poetic dance. You have to move in concert.
Yeah, you have to. That's the only way.
With the way they block now, because it's zone blocking or it's gap assignment. So it's not like fire off and blow your man away.
Right. No, it's none of that, because by the time you go to block him, he's not there anymore.
He's not there.
He ain't there. You got to move. You got to move.
Exactly.
4-3-4, 4-4 is on the D line. That's, these guys are looking to go to the next level, and that's what we're building here.
But now, we ran the football in the early drives where we picked up 7 and 8 yards.
Right.
Running between the tackles, not running outside.
And that did surprise me that we were able to run against Miami.
Exactly.
Which we wasn't able to run against Memphis.
Exactly. So I took that as a real sign of improvement there in the offensive line.
You said it earlier, Larry, and this is not to bail anybody out or help anybody, but they've only been together since Summer B. That's basically, we're talking about August.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And we're just, we just passed the middle of September.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
But it shows you the kind of productive work that they've been subjecting themselves to.
The whole world, whether positive or negative, is talking about what's going on out in Colorado.
Oh, yeah.
That same thing happened right here in Daytona Beach, Florida, over on Mary McLeod Bethune. Yes.
And people don't. The only difference is it's big marquee in Florida.
Right.
The same thing was happening relative to the roster, et cetera. Right here, we're on a lower scale. But if you look at having a brand new football team,
right?
By and large,
right?
And the efficiency that we seem to be playing with, something made these power rankings go up. They don't go up magically. Somebody's looking at something in terms of how efficient your team is playing to indicate that maybe we need to regard these people a little bit better because they do look like a pretty good football team.
And I think the one thing that attributes to that is the fact that our personal fouls, our penalties, are actually help us out a lot more.
The discipline.
The discipline. That's what it is.
That's what it is. The discipline. It's across the board.
These power rankings don't lie. That's it just doesn't lie. And I've heard one of our opponent coaches say, there's a sleeping giant out there in Daytona, and you don't want to wake it up, but we're gonna wake it up ourselves. It's already woke. He's just a little cranky right now.
But we really wake up when we get in conference.
Yeah, right. I'd like to welcome to the show Mr. Jerry Bell. Jerry, how are you this evening, sir? Hold on, Jerry. We're going to try to bring you in, big guy. Having a little technical difficulties. Yeah, definitely. Well, definitely ready to head out to Jackson with some cool people. We're going to try to bring him in. Like I said, we're having some technical difficulties here in the studio, but we'll get him on there. So, what were some other highlights from Thursday night's game? Sorry.
I thought we looked extremely efficient in the kicking game, not just our kick coverage on our punts, but the smarts we exercised in kickoffs, pooch kicking, covering those kicks. We looked like a football team. We didn't look like we had any major gaffes in the kicking game.
No. And we do know Restrepo is a dangerous kid.
He's a real deal.
Kept changing numbers. Like they put 37 on him when it was time for kickoff or punt return. He wears number 7, but you got to know where that guy's at all times on the field. And, man, I know we'll get to our grading, but Frederic kicked that ball.
He had a good night.
Punt it.
He had a good night.
Well, tremendous hang time on the placement of the football, etc. In that regard. So I really thought the special team showed up in a very, very huge way, and we didn't give up any choke plays, big dynamite plays, which often can throw the momentum.
It could.
So we were really sound there. I also really looked at the fact that we made Miami go the long field. We made them. They had to earn what they got, and they earned it, no doubt about it. And even one time when they got down in the red zone, we created a turnover by jarring the ball free and recovering it in the end zone.
Right.
So I thought we were sound in that. Yeah, we gave up yardage, no question about that.
It's expected.
But you had to pick your poison. Are you going to let them have the explosive plays that they had the week before against Texas A&M, or are you going to make them matriculate the football down the field and make them show patience as they go down and
that's
score?
Exactly what
and that's what we did.
Yeah, that's exactly. Jerry, welcome to the show, sir.
Yeah, I love when Larry say matriculate down the field. He's just so smart.
He's a professor.
Man.
We expect him to talk like that. That's why we hired him, Jerry.
The lady who was sitting in front of me at the game say, they ran the ball all the way down there. Larry said they matriculate.
Let me go some French fries. Let me go
Fry daddy.
Hey, all right. It's about Larry now.
How's it going, Jerry, man? What did you think of the Cats on Thursday night?
There were some things that I liked, some takeaways. Obviously, whenever you're playing up a level of competition. Let's face it, this is not an insult at all. So in case there's any players listening, this is not an insult. It's just what it is. It's like the JV playing against the varsity, right? They have more scholarships. They're better funded. All of those things. But what you're looking for is to see how your guys compete and see if there's anything that you can take out of that game that translate well into conference play and playing against guys at your level. And Larry just made one of those points, and that was, I like the fact that not only in the Miami game, but throughout the first 3 weeks, Bethune-Cookman's defense has not given up any chunk plays. And so that's good. If you can keep guys in front of you and make teams have to put together 12, 13, 14 play drives, the chances of them making a mistake goes up exponentially. Now, when you take that and now you're playing against guys at your level, then instead of maybe 3 or 4 of your guys on defense winning on a given snap, you might have 9 or 10 of your guys on defense win on a given snap, and you create more, negative plays, more long distances. So I thought the fact that we were able to, again, make Miami drive the length of the field, not give up chunk plays, that was a win. I thought the defensive end play specifically, we were able to get pressure off the edges. Those ends were able to, again, win not just once or twice, but with some regularity. Now, we may have lost in some other places across the line. We're a little bit too small in some positions at the second level. But the fact that we had guys who could consistently win on the edge, specifically, from the edge position, that translated extremely well for me. So I think, from a defensive standpoint, I think I like seeing some of the schemes and the pressures that we saw come with some of those late, blitzes off the edge from the second and third level. I thought those kind of things would translate well. You would watch guys that would be in position to make plays, but just kind of maybe a step too slow or thinking about things. I kind of tried to translate that into what would this look like against an FCS team. And I say that would, instead of being a 7-yard gain, that might have been a 5-yard sack or a 5-yard tackle for a loss. So I saw some things that I think translate well when we play against guys at our level.
Most definitely. I would highly agree. And, hey, Ricardo, thanks for your comment, big guy. The thing that we know is there were possibly those guys who we recruited to Bethune-Cookman that would have helped push us over the edge this year. Mm-hmm. But there are underlying things that aren't on the coaching staff, aren't on that player, that unfortunately we weren't able to overcome. But that is one of the things we're working on overcome. So the thing is, we just have to keep on pushing the guys we have here, and prayerfully, as we progress on and get into, the spring and things of that nature, we will start getting those guys. We hit that transfer portal hard.
Yeah, but see, what people don't understand, Woody didn't get here until after signing day. So if you look at what he accomplished from that little short period of time, I thought he did a super job. I mean, hopefully next year we're going to do 3 times better, but he was at a disadvantage starting off. We'll get there. I mean, the porter is there, and we'll get our share.
What I'm loving about it, you play the hand that you dealt.
Exactly.
And we have a next man up mentality. And that's why what I like about the way we practice. Everybody gets reps. So when you have to call that next guy up, he's not somebody sitting in the bullpen eating a hot dog.
No.
He's been getting reps. So he knows what's expected of the defense or the offense. They know that.
And that's how it definitely is for our guys. We see it every day in practice.
Yeah. Every single day. And that translates, Daryl, onto the playing football field.
For sure.
How you practice,
there's no drop off between
Absolutely.
first team, second team, and third. So
that's one of the reasons we're not making a lot of mistakes with penalties.
Right.
Because folks are doing it so redundantly. They understand.
And when they don't do it, they get reminded.
Absolutely.
So it's a totally different match.
Get on the line.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter which period we're in practice. Yeah.
Every period is a teaching moment, okay?
Yes.
And they always take time to do the teaching if it needs to be.
Yes,
sometimes a little more forcibly than others.
Yes, definitely so.
Yeah, that's right.
Definitely so. So on the day, Simmons finishes with 62 yards passing, 3 of 5 through the air in the UM game. Luke Sprague, 3 for 3 passing for 23 yards. Tyleek Bethea finishes the day 5 of 9 passing for 47 yards. On the ground, Mr. Bazile, 22 yards with 7 carries, but did add a 40-yard reception in the beautiful pass. And that's going to be open. It was open earlier in the game. That would have been a home run ball.
For a touchdown, that would have been. In fact, it was so open that we missed it. And when Miami came off the field, one of their coaches grabbed the safety and said, "You can't jump that route like that," because the guy went right behind you.
It was the Kari Allen Robinson.
There wasn't nobody
quarantined over there, as Mick Hubert says. I'm not a Gator guy. Sorry, Jerry, but Tink Boyd, 3 catches for 16 yards. Terry Lindsay had 2 passes for 20 yards. Our defense, Steven Sparrow, player of the week for our Wildcats, had a game-high 9 tackles, 7 of them solo.
I love the way that kid plays.
Yes, a lot of heart, man.
He does.
A lot of heart.
But he's a tremendous athlete.
And he's still learning. Once he has it down pat, man, look here. Dearest Thomas, 7 tackles, including tackle for a loss from his linebacker's position. Keywan Harris, 6 stops for the Wildcats. And then Mr. Iverson Clement, highlighted by Light on Sports earlier this week. That gentleman had 7 tackles, fumble recovery, a couple pass breakups on the other night. So,
you asked me earlier what did I like about the game. One of the things that I love. Listen, I thought Iverson Clement. I thought he competed the entire game, and so that guy was out there, giving you what he got, And so I like that fight. I like that bite that he had to him, and I like guys that compete. That guy competed. So that was another one of those things you take. Like I can live with those kind of guys on my team, specifically on defense. Guys is willing to go out and punch you and fight for everything, or make you fight for every yard that you get.
Definitely so. On the day, our Wildcats finished with 165 yards on offense. Miami finished with 589. Passing yards, Bethune-Cookman 132, Miami 349. Rushing yards, Bethune-Cookman 33, Miami 240. Penalties, very important. Bethune-Cookman finished the day 6 penalties, 35 yards. Miami, 5 penalties, 34 yards. So you're headed in the right direction. A little more penalties than we like, but it's not those, drive them down the field penalties, give them, keep drives going and things of that nature.
Exactly. And our rushing totals would have been higher except for the sacks that we did.
Right.
Yep.
Right. So that brings it back down.
Factored in there as well.
First downs, Bethune-Cookman 8, Miami 32. Third down conversions, Bethune-Cookman 6 for 13, Miami 7 for 9. We had no fourth down conversions, and Miami went 1 for 1. Time of possession, Bethune-Cookman 24 minutes, 58 seconds. Miami 35 minutes, 2 seconds. That's our recap. Guys, let's go through our grading real quick. Let's go quarterbacks.
Okay, so it's kind of hard to grade the first 2 quarterbacks because they didn't stay in long enough. I'm going to give quarterback a B minus.
You give them a B minus, you said? Mm-hmm. I'm going to give them a C plus, really. That's where I'm going to put them.
I mean, in years past, if we had what happened Thursday night, we're in huge trouble. We're in huge trouble because we don't have that many guys, So,
and our quarterback play, under the circumstances of who we were playing, we didn't bust many plays. I mean, we played pretty well.
Right.
Really,
And that, you know, that attributes to the offensive coordinator who, you know, plays to each one of his guys' strengths.
And Miami played their starters a lot longer than I thought they would have been playing.
Yeah, they sure did.
They went deeper. They
played them a half.
Full complete half.
Running backs.
I'm going to give the running backs a B.
I'm going to give them a C+.
Jerry?
I'm going to let y'all do the grading. My grading is a little bit tougher than y'all.
Okay. He did text me and say that during the game. But, Jerry, come next Thursday, you're going to have to do some answering. You know.
Oh, I'm okay with that. That's against, equal competition.
Well, he doesn't want to grade, Okay.
Well, I don't think he doesn't want to grade. I think Jerry grading is a lot more critical than ours.
Listen.
He
wants to keep the listenership up on the Hail Wildcats Gridiron Show. If he grades,
I don't want to sound like I'm being negative, but when I look for, listen, I can watch a guy have a 13-yard run and say you still made you went through the wrong hole. You got away with it, but that don't mean it was a good. That it drives me nuts, and so I get a little bit critical.
So
I don't want to sound like I'm being negative.
And I'm not trying to be a professor, but I'm gonna start grading a little different next week because we're playing
we're playing people our size.
I mean, literally. Of course. Like I tell my students, if you got the answer to the test and you still flunking on you gonna get graded hard. But I'm trying to be kind based on and within reason. Who we're playing, given what we're up against.
Right.
Now, what you expected, right? I get it. That makes sense.
Wide receiver / tight end.
I'm at C.
I really thought our kids caught the football really well. They competed for the football, and a couple of times we made some catches that were heavily contested catches with 2 and 3 people around. And so they really did a good job from that perspective. It's unfortunate we couldn't have seen more of Luke because Luke was moving that football.
Yeah, he was.
But all that being said, I'm probably, for the effort, for what they did, I'm gonna give them a B-.
What's your grade, big guy?
For offensive line play. Offensive line play. What you got on O-line?
I'm going to give the O-line a B+.
Improving it weekly.
Yeah. They have improved.
What you say, Jerry?
A B+.
Well,
man, we had.
I'm going to.
We had less than 100 yards of offense until that last drive.
But I saw some effort out there. We were up against pass blocking, but we moved some people running the football.
Yeah,
we had a couple plays there,
and we moved them against Miami regulars
against their number one unit.
Their number one unit.
We had a couple of plays back to back where we had 8 to 9 yards on 2 consecutive plays against a number 22 team in the nation. Defense.
Just beating Texas A&M.
Yeah. So I got. So they got a few things right. They got a few things wrong. Again, I would probably give them a C-.
But again, now once we start playing this Saturday,
like I said, the grading will check back with me with the kind professor next week. Okay.
Because I'm looking really that our number 22 is going to run wild. Actually, that's what I'm expecting. If he can get past that first, get in the second level, I'm saying he's going to be trouble. So that's what I'm expecting this offense line doing this Saturday that they couldn't do against Miami.
Defensive line. Let's switch sides of the ball. D-line.
I'm going to say, as Jerry said earlier, the defensive end, I thought they played well. I don't think we put enough pressure in the middle.
We're not big enough in there.
Yeah, not against.
That's what we can do about that.
Yeah. And I will say now, and I know it happens on every play, but we were quick enough to be held on every play.
And there was some holding going on that wasn't called.
Yeah, but y'all know there was a ton of holding. And I don't know if Darold told you, but I was.
But the check wasn't going to change.
Miami's too good for them to let them hold.
That's right.
And so they let them hold, block in the back, and call nothing. And I'm talking about in the open on critical play.
Yeah, where you see a guy looking like he got mugged.
Right.
His jersey has been moved. Okay.
Right.
So that was going on. But like Ralph said, you're not going to get the checking.
But I've never seen us play Miami where they give us those calls. They never give us.
But they got to give us a call. It's not going to change the game. It's not ever going to change the game.
I watched us play Miami one time, and I looked at this, and the referee was within 5 yards of it, where the tight end took our guy and moved him out of the way and caught the ball. Just took him and moved him out of the way. And the referee was standing right there in front of it. They aren't going to give you them calls.
But you know what? I don't think that at that level, they don't, because it was the same in Memphis. I mean, at that level, they're never going to just.
Daryl, on that first drive Miami made, you could have called 4 or 5.
Oh, for sure.
And it make our guys look like they're getting really beat bad, but they've been held. Yeah, they've been held. So I don't know. That's why I said I know we need the money, but I don't like those games.
Yeah,
I just don't like them.
Linebacker play.
Oh, I mean, that's maybe a D. I mean, they aren't big enough, or the scheme ain't set up for them.
Well,
I don't know. I mean,
Tyler Van Dyke, he shouldn't have been able to run like he did.
He did though.
Yeah.
Well, a couple of times he ran. There was some blatant holding.
Oh yeah.
There was a lot.
They wouldn't even call it.
Yeah.
They ain't going to call them.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, even on the first touchdown, when he comes out, there's a guy for us. Forget the number. He was scraping to come over, and he got mugged. That's why the alley opened up. I went back and watched it 2 times.
Wow.
So I mean, my thing is this. Again, I know we're undersized in the defensive line. I'll have a better judge of our scheme
Saturday.
Because if any of these quarterbacks in the SWAC take off running, we got the quickness at linebacker to run them down.
I think that's slowly but surely we see a changing of the guard this week.
Yeah, I mean, so.
Yeah.
I mean, and we'll look at them a lot more critical playing against Jackson State because I mean that's cousin to cousin.
Right.
Well, let's. I don't want to get into the strategy for the game, but now they're gonna try to pound the football early.
Of course,
Jackson State is definitely going to do that. Because basically they're looking at size.
They're looking at our size. Yeah.
But if we can start to get off that,
which this week we
not to
get into strategy.
Yeah. See, I would assume that we would stunt a lot.
We're gonna see some different things.
Yeah.
Defensive back play, corner and safety.
See, I don't even want to grade them, and because to me, playing a zone, which I think they are playing a zone, you aren't going to look good in a zone anyway.
I didn't like that we didn't. Some of the stuff we should have reacted better to. Yeah.
But again, it goes back to the tackling because we
because there was a touchdown down on our end where the guy caught it at about the 20-yard line, and everyone was just like mesmerized and not moving towards to at least force him out of bounds, and he turned that corner and
but
gets
again,
into the end zone.
I watched that entire Jackson State Texas State game,
right?
And I thought our tackling was bad. I think Jackson State is 5 times worse than us in tackling.
Right.
I mean, they were terrible in tackling, and I don't think really, to me, this personally, that has anything to do with size. Because if you wrap the legs up, they can't run.
Right.
I saw 2 football players in our secondary who truly played like they belonged on the field.
Yeah.
And that was Iverson Kamara and also Michael Harris, the safety.
Right.
Well, he was not willing. He was really willing to come in there and separate that ball from the receiver trying to get in the end zone. You know, they brought the kind of physicality.
Right, that you got to have week in and week out.
You got to have every week.
Definitely.
You really do.
Definitely.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Last but not least,
I thought one of the things that I want to say, you know, what I saw happen a lot, especially at that second and third level with those, you know, the linebackers and the safeties specifically, is that they were just thinking way too much.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you see them, it's like they were always like a half a beat off, right? Do I want to come up right now? It's like they were just caught in between. They were in this indecision a little bit too often. Now, to that point, that's what, you know, we talked about Iverson and Larry and Johnny Harris. I think those guys, they made up their mind and they were right now. Yeah. And so I can handle you being wrong as long as you got conviction. But when you just kind of stuck in the mud, you're not helping anybody. You gotta make a decision. You gotta go with it. You gotta be fast. You gotta make you gotta get to the ball. And so, you know, I do have an article coming up, and that was part of the thing that we pointed out for this game. We got to get guys on the ground. And, you know, Ralph, you talked about we play too soft in the secondary. Like, I like pressing. I like aggressive corners and secondary play. But I can get it. I see I think some of this is, hey, we can still get pressure on the quarterback, you know, by doing some different things, you know, with the front seven, and still play zone or soft behind it to not give up the big play. But the key to that, if you're going to do that, that's okay. You got to get those guys on the ground when they catch those, 5-yard routes. Yeah. You can't afford to miss a tackle because now you're just giving up a 20-yard gain anyway because you didn't get the guy on the ground. So I don't have a problem with the philosophy, but we just need everybody to buy into it. And it's like, if we going to concede a 5-yard route, then you just stop at a 5-yard route. You can't concede 5 yards, miss a tackle, and you chase the guy.
Right.
You can't do both. You got to do one or the other.
I don't know if our fans called it. New article alert. New article alert coming out. You heard it here first. You heard it here first. Go to hailwildcats.com and sign up under subscribe to make sure you don't miss out on that article. Or just go to hailwildcats.com. I know Jerry is feverishly working on getting that done and out to our Wildcat fans. Halftime. Arkansas Pine Bluff 17, Alabama A&M 10.
Really?
At halftime.
Scored just before half.
Yeah, scored right before half. Guys, that'll take us into our Alpha One staffing search firm, Bethune-Cookman versus Jackson State game plan. Guys, what do we have to do to win that contest on Saturday? Knowing the things that we know with our team right now, what do we have to do?
I wrote an article on it.
HailWildcats.com.
Well, I want to hear the professor though.
First and foremost, you're playing a team that's one of the bullies in your conference.
Correct.
So for me, you got to strap your helmet on. You got to be ready to deal with the physicality that they're going to bring, and you got to match that. Because they're going to try to punk you early.
Oh, yeah.
That's what they're going to do.
I mean, they've already said offensive explosion, right?
Exactly
offensive explosion.
TC Taylor's talking about total domination, you know.
You got to make them have an implosion.
Exactly. you got to beat that. You got to beat that. And then once you beat that, and you show that you have a resiliency about yourself, that you're here to compete.
The scrambling goes on the other sideline.
Right now, we
that Jay Novell scratching you.
Oh, absolutely,
yeah.
Because you're not going to tell me that there's some of those guys who are on Jackson State team who were in TIA Bank Stadium last year.
Yes.
For that walkover that they had in Jacksonville.
Yes.
And we have to let them know that team
no longer exists.
Yeah, this is a different set of dudes that's out there on the football field.
Definitely.
So we got to do that first and foremost. I'm a little bit like Jerry said. I think I like to bend, but don't break. I want to see if you're disciplined enough to move that football 70 and 80 yards, even though we're giving up ground, but we're condensing the field. We're making the plays. You're expending your energy, trying to get the score, but we giving up maybe 3 if you get anything. I just don't want you having home run shots getting on top of us. The longer we stay in the game, the more the game gets difficult.
The more pressure is on them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Definitely.
So
and I think this weekend you'll be able to really do a fair and impartial judgment on what kind of team you got. The way they play Saturday.
Absolutely.
That's my opinion. Again, I don't like the money games because it doesn't tell you much about your team. Because we're trying to play guys so we don't get injured, okay? And then we don't want to get blown out, so we're playing vanilla and we're playing safe. I'd rather see just go and hit heads, play football. That's what I like to see. That's what I'm expecting Saturday.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing again a little more of that offensive onion being peeled back. The gloves coming off so we can see what our offense is going to look like. I'm calling it the Gerbino factor in this football game.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
How he schemes things.
Exactly.
And how Jackson has to react to that. That's what I'm looking to see. And if we play clean, no turnovers, minimal penalties, we're going to be in this football game, guy.
I think so.
Field position is going to mean a lot.
Oh, no doubt about it. I like our chances in the kicking game. I think that is a portion of the game that we can and should win.
Coach DJ, what do you think about that? I think we're going to have Coach DJ McCarthy on here shortly to discuss our kicking game and things of that nature, and welcome him back to the sideline here at Daytona. We know he was here during Coach Jenkins' era, and did
a great job for us as well.
very, very much so. Very much so. Definitely very much so. Ralph, what are you looking for, man?
Well, what I'm looking for is a good football game from us, a complete game from us. I didn't think we had a complete game against Savannah. I think we came close to a complete game. But I'm looking forward to us playing somebody our size, somebody that we should be able to compete with them equally, and I'm looking for us to win. I wouldn't be going to Montgomery to see us lose.
No, Jackson.
I'm sorry.
But you're going to go to
Trump. Trump
Capital One.
So I had my Trump moment.
He's already had a walk over.
Hold on. Ralph, you sitting next to the professor. Did you flunk geography?
Hey, Jerry, I had my Trump moment.
Yeah. It's the capital somewhere.
Yes, sir. That's exactly right.
So, real quick, Ralph, what made you want to go to this trip to Jackson? What helped you to go, number one?
Well, because we're playing in somebody conference.
So, in-conference play, Woody's first game in conference.
I think it's equal. And like Larry said earlier, the one that throws the first punch, it's going to be the team that wins.
Right, definitely.
Because if we bottle up Jackson State at the beginning, we got them. Because they're expecting to come out and just walk over us. So if we can bottle them up in that first quarter, then I think we got a good chance to win in this football game.
Guys, I got an X factor. Yeah. Something that we've not looked at all year long. I think D's, our return guy.
We haven't seen
it. Can be a factor in this football game.
Yep.
I really believe that.
Because kicking down the field isn't going to be what we saw.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Because if you look at that Texas State game and Jackson State, they brought the ball back to the 45 every time.
I'm looking at the Florida A&M game and say what our former player did, housing it the first play of the game.
Again, and my point is they don't cover kicks that well. They don't cover kickoffs that well.
So on the way to the airport, do we need to stop by the store for you?
No, that's already been taken care of.
No, I was just saying, with your luck, and I hate to talk about luck, do we need to stop by the store?
No. We just need to be ready to cheer the Wildcats on in that football game, because I think we're going to be in a game, and I think we're going to have a good chance to win in that game. I'm expecting us to win, actually.
Are you getting a scratch off in Mississippi?
No.
Okay, all right. No. That's an inside Van joke. So that's a Van to Miami joke. So, but those are our keys to victory, guys. And everyone expects us to, not to knock any of the quarterbacks. Everyone's downtrodden. Okay, Luke's not playing. Bethea is questionable. He could play. So we're going to have to, go with Walter Simmons, and then one of the guys who has not, gotten any reps this year. Possibly go with one of those guys who hadn't gotten any reps this year. Does that bring a lot of negativity in your mind as a casual fan, we'd say?
Yeah, I think it brings. I think it's reasonable to say that there's some level of uncertainty, because what's burned in people's mind when they saw, Walter Simmons play this year is we played against Memphis. Well, Memphis we're outmatched, right? They're a Group of 5 program that's really closer to a Power 5 program.
Right.
And so we didn't really move the ball well, and so that gets burned in people's mind. And then we start the game against Savannah State. It's 3 series that, Simmons led. We didn't move the ball well. So, it can be, you can say, hey, I have a reason to, have questions. Now, at the same time, Simmons was the only quarterback that led us on a touchdown drive against Miami.
Yes.
So the question becomes, which version do we see? Do we see the guy who's able to go out and execute a 75-yard drive against a Miami squad? And even though we're dealing with their really, second and third teamers, those are second and third teamers that any team in the SWAC would take on their squad. So it's not like, it's not like they chop liver. Those are the kind of guys that we get excited about when they transfer to our programs. So, are we going to see that version of the guy that we saw in the fourth quarter, or will we see the guy who struggled in the first quarter against Savannah State? That, as a fan, I think you have reason to say, let's wait and see. The good news is that, we get the best version of them, which I'm hoping for and thinking that we can, then I think we're going to be all right. And so, again, it comes down to it. You ask, what's the keys to the game? For me, we got to establish a line of scrimmage. We got to protect the ball, and we got to get guys on the ground on defense.
Definitely.
Let's help Simmons out by establishing a line and getting the run game going. Let's make sure we don't give up in short fields, by turning the ball over. And, on defense, just keep those guys in front of you and tackle them. Get them on the ground.
Tackle them.
And I like our chances.
Yep.
Definitely so.
We're 4 games into the season coming up. I've always been a very big proponent of borrowing something from the NFL game that I think great coaches in college offensive coordinators do. We've got enough footage on ourselves now to script the plays that we run well for different quarterbacks. And I'd like to see us stay with those kinds of plays that we execute well with that particular quarterback, whatever that might be.
Right.
By not putting him in harm's way of himself, running stuff that we know he can execute. Pass patterns we know he has a potential chance to complete, particularly the short underneath stuff, the quick stuff coming out your hand, because you don't want to be in negative position where you're having to play behind the chains. If we can do that and be consistent in that, I think it gives us a great chance. This is also a game, I believe, where quarterback legs can play a big part in this game. The ability to get some yards with your legs from the quarterback. So there's some pluses and minuses there in Walt Simmons' favor, but we got to wait and see how this particular game is going to be called and how he responds to that.
Definitely. I want to see if Coach DJ, are you here with us?
Yes, I am.
Hey, Coach, how's it going, man? Good to hear from you.
Amazing.
Yes, sir. Great. We're on with Coach DJ McCarthy, our assistant head coach here at Bethune-Cookman University, and our special teams coordinator.
Which
Coach,
we just talked about, right?
Yes, definitely. So playing field position. Coach, we're so glad to have you back here in Daytona. We know you were here during the 2010-ish years. How does it feel to be back, Coach?
It feels awesome. It was always been a dream of mine to get back here. Some of my greatest days and years of coaching was here during that time, 12, 13, and 14. 2 Black College National Championships, 3 MEAC championships, had a couple all-conference players as returners and receivers at that time when I was working with the receivers, and a couple of academic All-Americans as I was in charge of the academic stuff. So, yeah, and the city was popping, right? You guys remember those times, 8, 9, 10 seasons back-to-back, and winning the Classic, 8, 9 years in a row, and what we had going here, and we're trying to get this back with Coach Woody. And we got the right man for the job. We just got to get behind him and look at his vision and put his vision to work.
Definitely so, Coach. Tell us a little bit, not to prolong it, but tell us a little bit. I know you're getting ready, your game plan, and you guys are getting ready to get out of here on tomorrow. Coach, you left in after, 2014-2015 season. Tell us about where you've been and, what you were doing last before you came back to Daytona.
I'll go backwards. What I was doing last was I was raising my boys. I got 3 sons, 2 in college. One's playing at Long Island University. One is here at Bethune. And then my baby boy Dylan he's a junior in high school at Cypress Bay High School. I was trying to get him to come up here to play at Mainland, but he wanted to stay with his mom and his friends down home. So we decided to let him do that for a year. But I was working with Brandon Marshall and his House of Athlete and I Am Athlete podcast. He's training pro athletes of all sports, mainly football, obviously, but we did everything else: pro soccer players, baseball, volleyball. And so I took over his youth performance at the gym, House of Athletes down in Weston. Helped him get guys for the podcast at I Am Athlete, different interview people, and raise money for the facility. Before that, I was at FIU with Butch Davis during the COVID year. And then before that, I was with Lane Kiffin 2019, 2017. Back-to-back conference USA championships there with them when I worked with the receivers and had a prolific offense and doing things that we did there. Then before that, I was in that school up north for a couple of years. When Jenkins left, there was a little switch up in the staff and some power moves and different things happening. So I got an opportunity to actually interview at FAM for the head job, and then they gave it to the guy, and I ended up going on with him to be his assistant coach, special team coordinator, and coaching receivers at that time. But it's always been a dream to get back here on the beach, man. I love this area. We was here for 3 or 4 years. Our kids did a lot of growing here. They still have friends here from back in the day. So it's a pleasure to be back here. It's a pleasure to see us build this thing back up to where it needs to be.
Oh, most definitely, Coach, most definitely. And, the guys here in the studio, we see you, at practice, and you basically run the practice, not to get into the periods and things of that nature, but very, very energetic guy down on the field and helps to make everything move in the right way. Also, I guess we left out, you coach the tight ends also, right, Coach?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I coach the tight ends here. Yes, sir.
Definitely so. And we call him the head caterer because during our cookouts, who was the first guy out there to set up and everything? Coach DJ McCarthy.
Hey, man. So I live by the scripture of Matthew 20:28. Jesus Christ is better on this earth not to be served, but to serve. So, I'm the same coach I was at UCLA, LSU. I'm the same coach everywhere. My job is to help the program that I'm at and the head coach that I'm working for and working with be the best that they can be. And it's all hands on deck. Whether it's picking up the bags off the bus after we land somewhere, or help cooking the fish, or putting the fries in, whatever needs to be done. I'm that guy. I'm the guy that's going to do whatever needs to be done. Nothing's too big, nothing too small for the program that I work for the head coach that I work for, and for the community that we serve.
Definitely so, Coach. Definitely so, Coach. Like I said, not to hold you long. You guys have any questions for Coach?
No, I no question, just comments. I just thoroughly love the teaching that they do in practice. Some people talk about it. Some people teach and they instruct, and they get the players involved with, doing it and explaining to them why we're doing this.
Definitely
and I've always been an advocate in the classroom of never letting a teaching moment pass. Because when you let it pass, that's a mistake that's going to happen.
Definitely a mistake.
Absolutely. And Coach Woody talks about it all the time. We got to explain to our kids the whys. Like, it's easy to say, hey, step into this, but if you don't explain to them the whys, you just tell them, you're talking at them. The biggest thing that we always talk about is other schools, and Woody talks about it here, is like, we got to be the best teachers on this campus. I know we got some great professors on campus, but we got to be the best teachers. We don't get as much time as the teachers do in classroom every day working with the kids. But, we're limited amount of time. We got to be able to teach. We got to teach them video, teach them on the field, teach them the breakdowns that we give them as well. So we got to be great teachers and great communicators for our young men to be the best that they can be.
Most definitely. Coach, is there anything?
Coach McCarthy, I have a question for you. I have a question for you. We're all excited. The first 3 games of the season, you're playing against 2 teams that have more scholarships than you have, 1 team that have less scholarships. Now you get the chance to go out, play against a team that's same level, same scholarships, all of that good stuff. We're excited about your guys testing their mettle. Can you just kind of describe what's the locker room like this week? How excited are the guys to be able to get into conference play and actually play against teams inside the conference?
Oh, man. First of all, our kids are excited about the new regime, the new head coach, the new coaching staff, the support that we have in the city, and this is the opportunity to be in first place in the conference. When we win this game, we'll be in first place of the Eastern Division of the conference. We'll be 1-0. We'll be in a position to have Jackson State out of the race, and we'll be in the driver's seat because then it will come down to us and our team up north and on that day before Thanksgiving to win the East and to get a chance to play for the SWAC championship, and then they go to Atlanta to play for the championship. So the kids are excited. They know, like you said, we had to play the Memphis, we had to play Miami, pay the bills, but we got a chance to get better as a team. We were toe-to-toe at times. We're talking about being 1-11. One man beats one man on each play. So we're excited about getting a team that has the same amount of scholarships, the same type of talent level. A lot of those kids that they had transferred are no longer there anymore. Some went to Colorado and other places, but this is a chance for us to show what we're really about as a team and as a program.
Most definitely.
Love it.
Coach, any closing words for our Wildcat Nation who's listening in to you? Listening and watching.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. So
you have the floor.
My words would be this. We have the right coach in place. We have the right program. We have everything that you guys are looking for to get back to the top. We need you to get behind us and support. Whatever it is, any little thing that you can do can help. Whether it's your service, whether it's your money, whether it's your time, whatever it is. All you got to do is look at that field behind the football office. Things are moving. Be a part of the movement, people. I'm telling you, this thing's going to explode. You want to have your name on it. You want to be a part of it. You want to be in the stands and we'll start winning championships again. We're going in the right direction. Let's get on board. Let's make this happen. Let's get behind Coach Woody. And let's get some championships here.
Let's do it.
I love it.
Thank you,
Coach.
Coach.
Thank you very much, Coach. We look forward to seeing you in Jackson on this weekend in Hail Wildcats.
Hail Wildcats, Coach.
That's right. Hail Wildcats.
Yes, sir. Have
you.
a good evening. Yes, sir. Thank you, Coach. See you soon.
Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. There you have it, Coach. DJ
Be a part of the movement.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Be a part of the movement. It's moving.
It is.
It's moving.
It is.
We have been saying we're coming. I think we need to. We're on the way. We're on the way. Let's go. Let's go Wildcats. And that's what it's all about, is just getting behind it. Eloquently spoken by Coach DJ. He means everything he says. Everything.
He has the credentials behind him and the pedigree behind him. He's highly thought of.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And the kids rally to him.
Oh, very much so.
They respect his word.
Great players, Coach.
Absolutely.
Great players.
Absolutely, no doubt about it.
To that point, we've heard Brandon Marshall and Chad Johnson talk about how much they learn and glean from Coach DJ McCarthy. And we talk about 2 guys who best to ever do it.
Yes.
And, here he is here in Bethune-Cookman helping this regime and telling you guys, we got, again, household names, guys who were excellent at their crafts, talking about how they lean into Coach DJ McCarthy, and he's now telling the fans, lean into this coaching staff because things are moving in the right direction. I think that's just too valuable for us to just kind of pass over. I mean, this guy can coach wherever he wants to. And he's here at Bethune because he chooses to be.
You're so right, Jerry. You are so right. We've got the pieces in place for something magnificent to happen. All we need is just to get the movement behind them.
And that's what we're all, we can't just talk about it. We gotta really, really do it. And nothing is too small. That's just what it is. I mean, these guys are really out there, and like I said, it's nobody's breaking the bank. Nobody's breaking the bank to do any of this. So,
Go ahead, Jerry.
I love something else he said. We asked him about how the team's feeling. He said, when we go to Jackson and win, we're going to come back in first place. That was, listen, that was conviction. He wasn't saying that, he wasn't trying to, just say, have the right answer. There wasn't a typical coach's answer where they just kind of, we're going to do our best and it's part of the process. Nope. We're going to Jackson. We're going to go up there and we're going to win. We're going to come back. It is going to be, he even did what Coach never do. He spoke about the end of the season. And then it's going to be settled between, we're going to put Jackson State out the race, and it's going to be settled between us and that team up north. That, if you weren't excited about this game yet, fans, you ought to hear the expectation that they have in that locker room, and that ought to get you stirred up.
Exactly. Yep.
Guys, let's go to the other side of the ball.
Is that the fish man?
That is the fish man.
Fish man.
Coach Gill, are you on the phone with us?
What a fish man.
Ladies and gentlemen.
What's going on? What's going on, fellas? How we doing?
Good. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Coach. Coach, go ahead, Coach. Go ahead.
I just got to eat some fish.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have Coach Stuckman on the phone with us. Coach, welcome to the Hail Wildcats Gridiron Show. One of our SWAC guys, hailing out of Grambling, a Florida guy, coming out of PK Young there in Gainesville, Florida. Coach, welcome to Daytona Beach. How's it been from your transition coming into Daytona? And, real quick story. So, here I am sitting at the combine in Indianapolis, and lo and behold, this guy walks in the room. I'm talking to a couple other guys, another coach from the Women's Football Alliance over in Tampa, and this guy walks in, and he's talking to some other guys, and he goes, "Yeah, I'm the new DB coach, the safety coach at Bethune-Cookman," and I'm like, wait a minute, I know I ain't hear this guy, right? So, he walks around, we meet each other, and the rest is history, Really good guy, and Coach Stuckman. Been serving fish ever since.
Coach, you're going to love this before you go to Coach. This morning, I come out the house early this morning, and my neighbor's across the street. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to my car. I have my hat on my head, and I didn't have it all the way on my head, and the wind sort of picked it up and blew it off. So when I picked the hat up, she happened to be looking at me. I threw the hat. I was trying to throw it as far as I saw Coach throwing his hat yesterday in practice, and I couldn't match that distance. I mean, he was launching the hat.
Man, that hat yesterday was like a frisbee.
I was like, I got to beat this record. Never seen anything like that.
Small stature.
Hey, Coach, you related to that guy who was on the Montgomery dock?
No, it wasn't one of those. No.
Coach, how's your time been in Daytona, Coach? And welcome to Daytona, as I said earlier. Coming from one of our rival schools, how's it been, Coach?
First, I want to say thanks for having me on, guys. Being back in Daytona, being back in Florida has been awesome. back in the home state, back home, and this was a big deal for me because this is my first job at HBCU. I know I played at Grambling, but I'm been coaching for 11 years, and now to be able to finally coach at a HBCU, man, is a big deal. And then it's the one back in the home state. Daytona's been awesome. It's treating me well. The support here from everyone has been awesome, man. So excited, to what we're building and in the direction we're headed.
So, Coach, tell us a little bit about where you've been, before. And I know you say you've been coaching for 11 years. Tell us about some of your stops.
Jeez. Actually, we got time for this. So I actually started in 2000. Well, since we're on the subject, so when I graduated, I played for Rod Broadway up at Grambling State University. He had just took the job at North Carolina A&T. So when I graduated, I actually was supposed to go to North Carolina A&T and be a graduate assistant for him, but it ended up falling through. And so, I moved back home and started coaching high school at Gaines, PK Young at my old high school. And then I coached there for a year and then went over to Gainesville High School and then got my first college job in 2014 at Midwestern State University. After that, I've been at Louisiana Tech as a defensive GA. Went to Florida Tech, the Division II school that used to be down in Melbourne, as a safeties coach. After that, I got an opportunity to go to LSU and be a graduate assistant there. Then after that, I was able to go to Appalachian State as a defensive analyst. We won championship there, and we went over to Louisville. We got that job, so he took me with him. Was there as a QC analyst role. Then after a year there, took the corners and nickels job up at Indiana State. And then last year, I was at the University of Incarnate Word, and God brought me here back to Florida. So
indeed, man, and we're so glad to have you here. On days when we're not cooking fish, we're glad to have you here. On those days we're cooking. But we love it, Coach. We love it, Coach. We know. Tell us about your what your duties are here at Bethune-Cookman University for the Bethune-Cookman football team.
First and foremost, it's about the guys. Taking care of the guys that Coach Wood has granted me the privilege to be able to coach and mentor. I'd say that's first. And when you say taking care of the guys, on and off the field, as far as making sure they go to class, being that role model, that mentor to them. And then on the field as well, coaching them up. I think that's number one. I think the next thing is recruiting. I think that's the pipeline. That's the life, the bloodline of college football. Got to be able to recruit. So I'd say that's number two is recruiting and representing the program in a first class manner.
Definitely. So, well, Coach, I know you're preparing to head out tomorrow. Head up to out to Mississippi. So we don't want to hold you long. But is there any parting words that you want to give the Wildcat fans?
Oh man, really excited about the direction that we're headed in. Really love the support, that we're getting from Wildcat Nation. Continue to be in our corner, man. I know the kids are working their tails off. Things are happening around here. You can feel it. You can feel the difference. Even since when we first got here, man. So it's been an awesome time. As we continue to build this thing and get, Wildcat Nation back to where it's supposed to be at, what I grew up remembering. So, excited moving forward and just, thank you for everyone for the support.
There you have it. Coach. David Stuckman, safeties coach and passing game coordinator on the defensive side of the ball for our beloved Wildcats. Coach, we look forward to seeing you in Jackson, and keep your hat on your head, man. Have a good night, Coach. Thanks a lot, my brother.
I got to start looking around now before
Hey, so
I
Coach,
appreciate you guys.
Yeah, hold on, Coach.
Coach Stuckman, don't let these guys don't let them give you too hard of a time. We had a coach around here at one time. During the game, You know the red hat that come out for commercials? He took the hat off of him and threw it to the middle of the field. So you in good company, bro.
Yeah, you're in good company. And that was during the game.
That was during the game, absolutely.
That was during the game, yeah. Right about in the same spot where you threw your hat.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
I appreciate you guys.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Coach. I appreciate you too, man. We'll see you soon.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir. Have a good night.
You too.
386-868-3411. That is the call-in number to talk to these guys. 386-868-3411. We're talking Wildcat football on the Hail Wildcats Gridiron Show conference week. Start of the conference week. 386-868-3411. So, guys, we've been waiting on this for a long time.
You can feel the energy.
Yeah.
You literally can.
Yeah.
Something's about to pop.
Oh, yeah.
You really can feel it.
I mean, with Coach McCarthy and Coach Stuckman, the thing about it is that's the attitude of the whole team. And that wasn't just for the radio.
Yeah.
That was not for the radio. I mean, no matter where you see them at, that's what it is. It has really turned into a family environment. It has definitely turned into a family environment around here. And, it's one that you want to get on that train for. It's definitely one you want to get on that train.
Can we play the what-if game for a minute, guys? Just
yes,
kinda,
sir.
On Saturday. We go out here on Saturday. I don't know if fans kind of realize if we go out here and come back with the win that we're expecting on Saturday, it changes everything, right? I mean, because we came into this conference, in our down years, and there's a bunch of people in the SWAC who really don't know Bethune-Cookman football, right? They kind of know us from afar.
Right.
They know we're the team that beat up on the other team from North, 9 years in a row. But you go out there and you win, and essentially, as Coach McCarthy say, eliminate, Jackson State from contention because they'll have 2 losses. You set yourself up in which, you have one more game against Alabama State, and then after that, the rest of your games are in the state of Florida minus the Grambling trip. So there's really an opportunity to kind of set up the season and really what the next couple of years might look like. Maybe I'm a little bit of hyperbole there. I'm overstating some things. But I think a win, man, it changes a ton of things. What do you think? I mean, more than just kind of just getting a win because it's good to have a win. I think the momentum behind a win like this could really, breathe a lot of life into the program.
I mean, it speeds things up at a world-class pace. You win this game with everything that's happening with this program.
That would be an extremely big win for us. If you look at the last 2 or 3 years of Bethune-Cookman football, it would mean a lot. And I think it would. I know it for a fact. It would put the rest of the conference on notice. Because you got to remember, they ranked us below Mississippi Valley.
Well, this
we got dirt on top of us.
We
right
got
now.
dirt on top. Exactly.
If indeed it were to play out as Jerry just mentioned, for me historically, and I'm not comparing the talent we're facing Saturday to this comparison I'm about to make. This is setting up much like the game in 2010 when we were picked to finish the bottom of the MEAC, and we go do the unthinkable and go to South Carolina
State
and shut them out.
Yes,
break
sir.
the home winning streak, the whole 9, and we know what happened after that.
Yes.
The rest was history.
Yes. That's what we're looking for Saturday. That type of game.
Yeah, that's what a victory would be to me. It would be on parallel with that.
I just got a text, not to call any names. I just got a text from Jackson State, and they're going to withhold their call for this week. They are Wildcat, but they're happily at Jackson State right now. Right now.
I know.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Caller, you on the caller, you on the Hail Wildcats X's and O's show.
Well, how y'all doing? This is just the HOF just checking in. I'm the first to touch the turf.
I knew he was going to say it. Mr. Robert Gould, how's it going, sir? Welcome to the Hail Wildcats Gridiron Show.
No, I don't want you first, Robert.
Yes, sir. Hey, first of all,
he said the workers don't count who put it down.
Oh yeah, I do have a time I get off there, D. I don't work 24/7. I do get a little time off where I can kind of
call into the show, right? Right. We appreciate it, sir.
Yeah, to check in and make sure the show is going accordingly.
Is it going according? Because we are broadcasting live in Volusia County, Daytona Beach. I just want to make sure everything meets your approval. Because if not, then we'll work on doing that.
We ain't gonna take it. Well, I ain't gonna ask for it to be taken off the air because I love it.
Okay, that's what we like to hear. Okay, all right. Proceed on.
Hey, I just want to say thank you for how you guys are covering the Wildcats and their day-to-day operation and game plan and positioning and in the rundown and all of that sort. As you see, like you've been saying all night, that you can see the progress. You can feel the energy in the air, and you can actually see it. Once those guys be the second one to touch that turf, it's going to be a whole nother ball game in the locker room, in the attitude and everything about that football game going to change that team. So I just want to commend you guys for keeping us up to speed on the movement on the day-to-day operation of the Wildcats, and you guys are doing an excellent job keeping the community involved, keeping the community updated, as well as the coaches and all the other faculty and staff among the campus.
Hey, we thank you, Gould. We appreciate, man. We appreciate all your effort also and all you're doing. You're right there in the thick of things with these guys day in and day out. And, it's just it's a vibe. It's a vibe that's, we didn't know what to expect. We didn't know what to expect here, here in a few months, we were without a head coach, last year.
Exactly.
Coming up last year. And, we didn't know where we were going with it. We love Cookman football, but we didn't know where we were going. Now, it's something to behold, something to grab a hold of, and everyone can be a part of it and play some part in it. And that's what it's about. We're just playing a little part. We're trying to bring to the Wildcat Nation just a little excerpt of what we see and what we hear and things of that nature. And we're on the way. We're on the way. And I just say to everyone, let's go Wildcats. That's what it's about. That is definitely what it's about.
And again, I was always very optimistic about the football team and the football program. I was never really worried. Only thing, that really bothered and worried me was the negativity that came along with Ed. But as no one knows the type of conversation and that I had with that guy to try to hold that guy's hand. Nobody knows all of that, and for where this program is at this point in the progress that they have made, I'm very impressed and I'm very excited. And Coach Woody, I talk to him all the time. I make sure he's all right, and he makes sure I'm all right. I'm gonna be all right, but I just like to talk to him and instill a great deal of confidence and let him know that you got a whole lot of people that's standing and walking right behind you, and not only behind you, but beside you also, along with you guys, Mr. Ralph and the rest of the crew, Mr. Wesley, and you too, Daryl, with the great support of the football program and all the other things that you all do.
Yes,
and I'm much obliged by that.
Yes, sir. You're very much welcome. You're very much welcome. You're very much welcome. And we just, as Mr. Gould was saying, we encourage our fans to not only be a part of it. Our whole coaching staff, our whole team is approachable. It's not like they're hidden, nothing of that nature. They're approachable, and once you have one conversation with every person a part of that staff, down to the support staff, we've become family with the support staff. We're heckled every day. Every day. Yeah. It's just, it's remarkable, and that's what it's all about, bringing the community back in, and that's what we're going to keep on doing. We're going to keep doing it.
And it's an excellent. I never met a group of young men of that caliber that I am face to face, and I have conversation with them every day.
That's it. That is it. Cool, man. We thank you for calling in, brother. We're good to hear from you each week, man, and we look forward to hearing from you next week on the Hail Wildcats Gridiron Show. Hail Wildcats.
Hail Wildcats.
Hail Wildcats. Let's go.
Let's go.
All right. Thank you for letting me call.
Sir. Yes, sir. Anytime.
All right.
386-868-3411. 386-868-3411. Call in. Hail Wildcats Gridiron Show. We got a few more minutes before we go to our closeout of our show, and we want to hear from you, Wildcat fans.
After hearing Coach McCarthy, I was thinking about getting some Todds and playing Saturday. He got me all fired up.
From what CC says about you, man, I don't think Jackson State want to see you out there. I tell you what, if you were playing against Memphis that night,
I'd be the talk of Memphis.
Boy, what you talking about? Definitely so.
But Coach got me fired up, though. I mean,
yeah, that's what they do, man. That is just,
and we see that type of attitude at practice every day.
Every day.
That's the way he was talking is actually the way practice flows every day.
Like, people don't know, and we're only here every, some Wednesdays, some Thursday nights, right. This is just to let our fans know, this is the conversation that goes on from, let's just say 10 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock at night between us. It's something new every day with our organization. And, we're not at practice every day because sometimes
they trick us.
While we're asleep, they've completed practice.
Not for any lack of effort on our part.
Right. It's just that way. Yeah,
didn't get the email.
Hey.
Yeah. It's like that.
What you say,
y'all see Taji encouraging Ralph's back?
Oh, Lord have mercy. She is. She said, "Let's go, Ralph." There you go, Taji. Don't pump him up too hard.
Yeah.
Thanks, Taji.
Carly, you're on the Hail Wildcats Gridiron Show. Welcome.
Gentlemen, how y'all doing? Steve Holmes here from the Ave.
Steve, how's it going, man? Our man from the Ave. Glad to have you on. Part of our family, man.
Yeah,
part
man.
of the family, bro. Definitely.
Yeah, everybody's good, man. I appreciate y'all. Love watching y'all every week. I kind of jumped in late tonight, but
all right, better late than never. Better late than
right.
never.
And I listen every week, but I wanted to say that for one, to have the alumni to continue to support the institution. I think we got a great opportunity to kind of get things back on track, and I think Jerry gave me your information, so I'll be reaching out to you at some point.
Definitely.
So that we can connect on 1904 and all that stuff, because I think what you guys are doing, that is great.
Thank you, sir.
And yeah, man, I just wanted to call in and just tell y'all boys thank you for all you do. And the Ave is, again, a new experience. I don't know if everybody's familiar with it, but check us out on Facebook, the Ave, BCU, and check out what we're writing about. Again, and we support HailWildcats.com. So anytime they're doing something, we try to make sure we give some light to it. Jerry and I are close. We talk and pass trade secrets back and forth about maybe the school stuff. So we locked in, man.
Definitely so. And we thank you for everything you're doing, from paraphernalia down to the merchandise, down to the articles and everything you do to support, jumping on the podcast and things of that nature. That goes a long way. Absolutely. That goes a long way. And everybody
you know what? And let me jump in for a second. So, and just so people know, we used to be Wildcat Warehouse, and then we rebranded as the App, but that was done intentionally because we wanted to back away from just selling merch, and we wanted to be more purpose driven, and we wanted to make sure that what we were doing was actually having some positive effect on the institution, because they need all the positive energy that it can get. And I just feel like we're like right there. We're not quite there yet, but I feel like we're like right there to a place where I think the school can kind of turn that corner. We still got some questions up top and that kind of stuff, but that don't mean we can't still represent our school in such a way that makes everyone feel good about it. So
definitely so. Hey, Steve, man, we thank you.
And that's not football, so I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay. We're not just football related. We want to push the narrative that Bethune-Cookman is on the way. We are on the way, and we need all Wildcats. So let's go.
Absolutely.
That's what it's about.
Yes, sir. Y'all both take it easy, man.
Hey, thank you,
right,
Steve. We look forward to hearing from you again soon.
Steve.
Yes, sir. Yes.
All right, guys.
All right. Good night. Guys, as we get ready to close out on the show, Jackson State, Bethune-Cookman, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in Veterans Memorial Stadium there in Jackson, Mississippi. Ralph, give us some closing words, brother.
Well, Coach Stuckman and Coach DJ got me fired up.
Right.
And I'm just hoping that all the things that are happening at Bethune-Cookman, that all the Bethune-Cookman alumni understand that a change is coming, and you got to get on the boat and get on the boat before we leave the depot.
There you go.
These are some special times, and we've been through a lot, and now we're starting to see the dawn of a new day, and as Coach DJ says, there's no doubt we have the right guy leading this program.
Definitely.
There's no doubt. And he's got the right coaching staff. And those kids are responding. We see it every single day. We play a big football game Saturday. If we get this win,
right,
there is no telling what will happen with our ball club moving forward, because you're talking about how do you believe?
Right.
Do you believe? These kids believe.
They believe big time.
They really believe.
And there's more help on the way.
Oh, yeah,
there's more help on the way that, you just keep on trudging. Just keep on, as I said earlier, like Ralph said, in the standings, they had the dirt on you. They threw the dirt on you.
Yeah.
They had us at the bottom of the well.
Well, Raymond's been that way consistently from all the way back to SWAC Media Day. I
yes.
mean, Sean and not talked about, and he just kept his head down.
Right.
Talked about working hard, not making any noise.
Nope.
But working every single day and watching his kids get right behind him with that coaching staff and making their way from the bottom to the top.
We know he has plenty of things he can make excuses about.
No doubt.
Of course.
No. Do you hear him?
No doubt.
No. They're not, plenty of stuff.
And the greatest evidence of all of this is the changing of the culture.
Yes.
That you can see, feel, and react to. When we went to play Jackson 2 years ago, I had no idea. I didn't think we had a chance going out there to play Jackson.
Right.
This time, there's not that feeling.
There's not that feeling. No.
Because, these kids.
Different mindset.
Yeah. And they put the effort in. They put the work in.
Jerry?
Punch them in the mouth. Look, I'm good with talking around what's going on with the program, which we should highlight.
Gotta punch him in
I'm
the mouth.
excited about what's going to happen on the field. Larry is the resident historian as it relates to Bethune-Cookman football. But, Ralph, you've been around a long time. Daryl's been around, many of our listeners. When Bethune-Cookman has a good football team, it's because Bethune-Cookman punch you in the mouth. The best teams we've had have always been aggressive teams, physical teams at the line of scrimmage. And even if we lose, you don't want to play that team again.
No.
I want to see Bethune-Cookman football where at the end of the night, first of all, we come out with a victory. But secondly, when Jackson State will say, we want to play anybody else this year except those guys in the maroon and gold. I want us to go out and be physical, be aggressive, and play with some passion and pride. And I'll say this. This is not last year's team from Bethune-Cookman standpoint, and it's not last year's Jackson State standpoint. So I'm expecting this to be a highly competitive game. And if we can limit the mistakes, we come back home with a victory.
You know how bad Jerry wants to punch him in the mouth? He'll be on that flight at 8:05 a.m. Saturday morning heading to Jackson.
Jerry sounds a lot like, as he was talking, I heard a great football coach who used to compete against Bethune-Cookman and Coach Alvin Wyatt in the MEAC. One Bill Hayes.
That's right.
At North Carolina A&T.
Bill Hayes.
Bill Hayes said, you know the difference between Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman? He said, you punch Florida A&M in the mouth, and they'll lie down for you. If you punch Bethune-Cookman, they're going to punch you right back. You in for a fight. Right. That's what he said about the Wildcats.
Yes,
he
sir.
He knew when you played us, you were going to be in a dogfight.
In the dogfight.
Yeah. So, listen, the last time we went to Jackson, we at the spring game, so that was what? That was 2021. 2021. The spring game the next year, one of those officials was there. He was officiating the spring game, and the official said, I don't know why y'all stopped running the ball on them, because those guys were quitting on y'all. And then, we couldn't guard Malachi that year.
And then Miss Emma gave it to the referees.
But when we were being physical, that game was tight until that last 2 minutes of the first half.
Yes.
First 2 minutes of the second half.
You gave Shadura everything.
Because we went out
turnovers, all kind of stuff.
The same thing, and they don't have Shadura this time.
Right. 6 times?
Yeah. 7, I believe.
The interception turned the game around.
Yeah, it did. It did. There you
and
have
that
it,
kickoff return after halftime.
Yes.
Yep, that was it. Those are 2 plays that changed the momentum of the game.
Yeah.
6 p.m. Central Standard Time, 7 Eastern Standard Time. Our Cats go into Veterans Memorial Stadium to take on the Jackson State Tigers. Looking forward to seeing you there. For Mr. Ralph Smith, Mr. Larry Wesley, the professor, and the creator, Mr. Jerry Bell, I'm your host, Coach Darold Williams. Hail Wildcats, and let's go.
Hail Wildcats.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Bethune-Cookman University alma mater.
Bye.